Love walked in through the door. There's some love in this room. There's an intense American and his compadre in this room, and I will be proud to introduce on the Yeah Come On show our guest in just a second. Powered by Oxygen Financial with 2 locations, Buckhead and right here in Alpharetta where our studios are. Thank you, Oxygen Financial and Ted Jenkins. I now turn to Brett Barney, my compadre, and you just want to say something really cool about how well we're doing.
Yeah, first, I need to work on this drums. We're getting too far in for me to have no idea what I'm doing. But
it's basic rhythm. Same rhythm you might use on a waterbed having sex with your girlfriend.
Oh, boy.
I think you're giving him too much credit.
If you don't have that kind of rhythm, drums are going to be tough.
I had a question about waterbed sex the other day. If you're on a boat, on a waterbed, having sex, does it negate itself?
Yeah, the water just evens out. There's no waves. It's like wave against wave.
That was my argument.
It's like being on a stiff bed at that point.
Yeah, it's like Pat Green says, wave on wave. I got it.
Wave on wave.
All right. So as we just started in our last show, we're going to start every episode doing some of the comments that you guys leave on the previous episode. So I want to drop a few in. And I don't think you guys totally get the point yet because the first one I'm going to go to is Otis. This is from Ashley Nicholson. Otis is an Atlanta legend. Southside is an Atlanta legend. And Brett Barney is becoming one. Keep up the good work, guys. I thought the whole idea of this
sex
was
with Ashley?
to trash us.
No.
First off, I'm not becoming an Atlanta legend.
You got a long way to go.
Yeah,
we do have a
real
legend
here.
that is basically right across from me, but you're not there yet, but just keep going.
Okay, so here's the other one I wanted to bring you. Alan Dunfree. His comment,
Hey, Alan.
bring on the Kimmer, please.
He wants the Kimmer.
He wants the Kimmer.
We did have some requests for the Kimmer. You know
Yes.
what? That's not a bad idea, Alan. Not a bad idea.
So
We love Kimmer.
Make sure you comment, trash us, do whatever. And you said you're going to toss out some free, come on, swag, maybe?
Come on. I am. Matter of fact, go to yeahcomeon.com. That's where you can get your Yeah Come On hat. You can get your bottle opener that goes, yeah, come on, when you open. As well as you can get I Do What I Do When I Do It shirt or my palm tree shirt, which is perfect for summer. And there's great discounts right now to say you watch the Yeah Come On show. Yes. And I run this all out of my basement. I mail everything myself. And I got to tell you, there's hours I spend down in the basement. Hours.
You
so
shouldn't
many mails.
say that you're touching all that stuff because
touch
DNA,
everything.
and then next thing you know, you're arrested for
I
murder.
seal every envelope with my own spit. It's true. Today's guest, I would like to introduce at this point in time on the Yeah Come On show. He's a paper boy, a bag boy, and he hopes one day to become a cashier. That's all happened to him in the last 2 weeks because right now he's unemployed, but he's not. He's working at a grocery store. Before that, he spent decades on the radio. He's been a TV news reporter. He's a proud Marine. Hoo-yah! But that's not all. For the first time, we have 2 guests in this studio. He's requested. He is here sitting across from me, along with his partner in crime. It is the Kimmer and Pete Davis on the Yeah Come On show.
Help. Look out. How you doing? Look at, here we go. Stand by.
What's up, buddy? What's up?
I've changed my mind. I need some liquor.
Yeah, we do need
Do
some
you
of
need
that
some
whiskey.
liquor?
I'll need some liquor.
This show right now, not sponsored by Woodford, but we hope one day you'll come to your senses. Would you like some Woodford,
I
Pete?
would love some.
Do you want to? Now, I've got some nice stuff. This is the double baked. It's expensive. It's in the smaller bottle. Or you can do my favorite, because I've drank this entire bottle, Kentucky Straight.
Anything from Jack Daniels is just fine with me.
You're right, the Jack Daniels Company. God bless them. I notice, Kimmer, you're not having a drink. You're being
I have
good.
root beer, my friend.
It's still a beer, though, isn't
yeah,
it? Now, I've got you guys on here because I don't get to see you in my building anymore. There's been some changes at Cumulus.
This sucks, man. I mean, this is just bullshit. Honest to God, this is.
You
just,
can actually say it.
Let it
I
rip.
know, but I sure show,
Say
and
it.
I don't know.
No.
You know, I mean, really.
Kimmer, you can say anything from the F-bomb down. The only thing we don't say is GD on this show because we're proud,
Yeah, that
God-loving,
makes sense.
fearing
Yeah,
Americans.
as it should be.
But I will tell you, I actually even wore underwear for you, Kimmer, today. Hold on one second.
No, it's all right, Steve. Really appreciate it.
No.
Oh, wow. You said underwear.
And I don't normally wear underwear with
Ah.
these, but
Oh, my God. It's American stripes
lady
and
present.
stars. And
you know what I said? I got a Marine in the studio. I'm wearing a flag on my junk. But yeah, you can say whatever you want, but I know that it is a bunch of BS. And you had huge ratings. You were a big part of the show, and there was a big party for you after the fact. And I understand 1,000 showed.
It was one of them was right here at Ted's place, and it was in fact it was well. First of all, have you seen the construction around here? I mean, oh my God, they're tearing down every tree and every building is going on. They put like 8,000 new single bedroom condo apartments with no parking. By the way,
none.
It's a freaking nightmare. And so I remember saying on the air, I said I'll drive up there, but I can't find a place to park because I'll never get there after work for this party.
Yeah.
So I come roaring up, and of course my car is very loud. I mean, you can hear
Like
my car.
your motorcycles back in the day?
Way more than the motorcycle.
All right.
This thing is freaking loud. And so I come roaring up Old Canton Street, and all of a sudden people start, like spreading the crowd, and they said, "Oh my God, it's security!" They look over, and it was me in the car because they could hear it coming. I said, "Where am I supposed to park this thing?" So there's a cop there, and he says, "Put it up on the sidewalk; it'll be fine." So I just pulled right up there, right in the front.
And then I heard you stood there for a while. There was a lot of love.
Well, believe me, I was so humbled by. I mean, really, when the people came up, and I literally, it was an hour and 15 or 20 minutes that I never left the side of my car. There were so many people who wanted to just say hi and shake hands and autograph and picture. I mean, really, I was so overwhelmed, flattered, and it was a great party. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and it does our heart good. But I'm still so freaking ticked off about this. I honestly,
And I hate it because guys in radio, they say you're not in radio till you've been fired. I got fired back in the day. The building of death got us all over there at Clear Channel, but I think now it's iHeart. But there was a lot of blood in the carpet. Some of it was mine.
Well, I've never been fired. I've been let go. I mean, I've been paid off. I've never been told, "Here, get the door. We're not paying. Get out of here. We don't want to see you again." I've been paid. I've been ended a contract. Say, here's. In fact, GST paid me more than a year's salary.
To walk away.
They wanted to go syndicated.
That's why you were on the golf course and still buying nice things.
That's right. I thought I had a lot of money for a while there. And then I retired, went down to bought a place at PGA National in Florida, on a golf course. And I was living pretty good there for about 5-6 years. Then, of course, the economy hit in the 2008 and all this stuff, and I got screwed and lost my money and everything. I got 3 properties underwater. And, it's just like everybody else. And thank God. Yeah, I know. Poor me. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying this is what happened.
No.
And thank God we came back to work. And then the problem was the guys who hired me, and when they called me, I was retired down in Florida. And the guy who was at the Cumulus called me, who I'd known over the years, not real well, but I knew him. And he said, "What about coming back?" I said, "Sure." And I said, "I'm coming back as a team. I want Pete Davis and Jim Goss at the Newsmaker line. And if you want to hire us as a team," they said, "that'd be great. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you mess with either one of those guys, I quit." I said, "This is very simple. It's not like I'm trying to start a career. I mean, I've been around for 50 years doing this business. So I said, I'm not trying to prove anything. Here's what I offer. If you want it, great. If you don't, fine. Don't worry about it." But I said, "If you mess with my guys, it's over. I'm going to quit." And they said, "No problem." So we were all on the same schedule and the same vacations, all that kind of stuff. It worked out great. And then about 6 months after we got here, the guy who hired us and Mr. Dickey, who signed me, actually left.
I know.
And so
Wasn't that a rug pull?
well, the problem was our new bosses are were these screaming liberals who hated talk radio and hated me on talk radio and hated my kind of talk radio. So and I don't say that to be critical of them because that's just who they are. They never would have hired me. I mean, we got lucky that we lasted 6 years because they never would have hired me. They never would have hired me to come back on the air.
Yeah, you know what? And your flavor of radio is my flavor. I eat your flavor. I enjoy what you say. I've never eaten. Hold on. I've never.
Not exactly Baskin Robbins there, Kimasabi.
Yeah, I've never eaten the Kimmer, but I've had.
But then who has?
But I've had a taste of Pete Davis. That's easy.
Yowie.
Yeah, but
I've seen those pictures.
No, but I just want to say to you, Pete, with the Kimmer, and that's the loyalty I've always looked for. I've yet to really find that in my career. I just haven't. Brett and I have been together for a moment. He's pretty damn loyal. I think he would take a bullet for me. I'm not sure. If some crazy person came in.
Like in the hand.
All right, we're not there yet. All right.
I mean, like, where would I take? I'm not taking it in the heart.
Grazing the shoulder, something like that.
How about a center mass?
arm.
Take
Just
a
a
center
flesh
mass
wound.
shot. All right, whatever. But that kind of loyalty is rare in this business. And I had the pleasure of working with you guys when you were at GST and I was at 96 Rock.
Yeah.
And I remember when they let Wayne No Offense go. And
that was a crock. That was the beginning of trying to get rid of us.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now, Kimmer, you did not want to walk down the hall for about an hour.
Should I tell this story?
Yeah, I want you to tell the story.
You want to tell 2 stories
But
about
Kimmer, I will say one thing. Kimmer's old school, kind of like me, uses the typewriter. That typewriter got broke.
Well, there were 2 things. When they fired Wayne, That was the beginning of the end. They obviously wanted to go all syndicated, and we were. And for a record, for only about last 3 years of my career, I was making a lot of money. I was making way more money than I ever thought I would at an AM station here in Atlanta. Everything was going great. They were making money. Everybody was happy. But then something happened, and they wanted to go all syndicated. And so they called Wayne. We were talking about some Muslim holiday celebrations or something, and Wayne made a comment about some kind of Muslim process where it had to do with bad sanitation. Something. It was a negative thing.
Sure.
And Wayne said it, but it wasn't anything. It was true for one thing. It was an actual thing that happened over in whatever. Anyway, so then he disappeared out of the office. He got called in the big boy's office, and he came back and he said, "They just fired me." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "They just fired me." I said, "For what?" He said, "Because of the comment on the air." And actually, I was the one who said more than anything than Wayne did. And I said, "You got to be kidding me! You didn't even do anything. You surely didn't do anything fireable." So I went barging into the office. I went screaming down the hall and into the big boy's office.
I heard you.
Oh my God!
I was there.
And
we're on the air, and we're like, "What the hell is that noise?"
freaking livid.
I'm in a soundproof room. What the hell is that noise?
And that was kind of a bad experience. I mean, I just exploded. I let him have it. And the other time that happened, remember, I used to do CDs of the highlights of
Sure.
comedy bits of my show, the Newsmaker line, Jim
and we
Gossip's,
did it.
all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd sold those for Marine Corps Toys for Tots. And they told me several years ago that I was actually the #1 private fundraiser for Toys for Tots.
Oh, that's an awesome.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars off. Anyway, and we did it every year. And then the last year we did a box set, and on the cover we had the picture of the four of us on big wheels.
Yeah.
And it had like a Harley logo, but it said too dumb to drive, or it was some silly takeoff phrase. And it was Jim Gossett and Pete and me and Wayne. No offense. And we were on these little yellow plastic big wheels, and that was the cover of the album. But it looked like kind of a Harley logo on it. Well, one day, Jerry, the boss, came into the office and he said, you can't keep talking about this the CDs selling for charity. So what are you talking about? He said, "Well, you're violating a copyright." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Apparently Harley." Somebody, well, obviously he was an opponent of my show. Somebody in another station thing made a complaint that we were violating the copyright of the Harley logo on our fake thing on big wheels.
Damn.
And I said, "You've got to be kidding." He said, No, they filed a grievance, and if we sell any more, they're going to hold us in contempt. He said, "We're going to have to destroy all." I said, "Destroy? Oh my God." I went nuts. I went screaming down that hall. I mean, I followed him. I was screaming and yelling, and people were popping their heads up like gophers and out of their cubby holes.
You go through Cube World, and all of a sudden these people pop up. It's like
they go boom, boom,
like
boom.
whack-a-mole.
And I am screaming at the top of my lungs. And so they suspended me for 3 days. And
Yeah, been there. Been suspended for a day.
Anyway, and I said, "You guys are nuts. You're doing it exactly wrong. What I should do is I should call a news conference. We should take all of our Kimmer CDs that we have left, and there were hundreds and hundreds of them. I said, we put them in a big bonfire right outside the radio station on the freaking sidewalk and have TV cameras show me putting lighter fluid on it and burning them all to hell and saying, this is how this company feels about selling charity CDs for the Marine Corps Toys for Tots." I said, "You don't think that'd get a little publicity and do all kinds of..." Oh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. It was just they just caved in entirely. It was really horrible. Anyway, in the end, they treated me great because when they let me go, then they called me in. Oh no, I'll tell you what happened.
I got 3 months pay. It looks like you got a year.
I got over a year.
Damn good
I got over
deal.
a year. I was listening before Tom Hughes, the best morning man who ever lived. He was just the greatest morning man ever.
Cheers.
And absolutely, and the king. And he was on the show, and I'm listening. Well, it was like 8:00 in the morning, and I'm getting ready to drive in and do my stuff, and I hear Tom say, "You know what? This is my last day." He just said, "You know what? I retired. As of today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done. This is it. I'm retired." And I thought, holy crap. He just quit. He just retired right there.
On the air.
On the air.
No warning.
No, nothing. Boom, bang.
How about a 1 hour notice? I'm done.
Well, so I drive into work, and I'm at my desk, and I'm sitting here at my desk, and two of the bosses come in the door and say, "You want to come into Mike's office?" Mike Wheeler, I think.
No, I don't.
No.
And I said, "Should I bring my playbook?" And sure enough, he said, "Yeah, we're gonna let you go, canceling the show." And the first thing before he said anything, I thought to myself, "Man, if you make this difficult for me, there's going to be a problem." And he said, "We are going to pay off your contract."
Oh,
I
that's
said,
perfect.
"Oh my God!" It was 13 months' salary they paid me.
Wow.
They could have messed me up. I mean, they could have screwed me. They could have made an excuse. And that's what they were doing with Wayne when they fired him. And then they fired Leslie. My girl, who was Leslie Sharp, was doing some business.
Sure.
Right? And then so I was left basically by myself, and so I knew what they were leading up to, and I had to talk about it. And the guy said, "Well, do you want to quit? I mean, do you want to?" And I mean, they were trying to set me up so that I would leave on my own, so they wouldn't have to pay me.
You're like, no,
And
no.
I wouldn't do it.
You're going to have to fire this
yeah,
boy.
you're going to have to get rid of me, baby. But they, I mean, it had a lot of class. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. They paid me, and I was 62 or whatever, and I retired and went to Florida and bought two places, and up north and down in the south, and I was living a great life until
How'd that work out?
until the money guys got it all. Freaking bankers.
At least you
man.
didn't open a bar called Southside Steve's in 2008. I was like,
Well,
who
see,
knew?
And I bought
knew?
I bought a house. I bought a vacation home up in the New England, Berkshire Mountains and stuff at the
Right.
highest value that it will ever be. And the same thing in Florida. I bought my condo at PGA National down in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, at the highest it's ever
bought
going to
high
be.
and you sell
and
low.
now I'm screwed. I
Yeah.
I
can
finally
relate
got
to
rid of
that.
the.
You can relate to that, can't you?
I got
Oh,
rid of the place in Florida, but and I'm still getting killed on the one up north. I'm still paying for it, but I can't get rid of it.
Oh, I love my bar. My guy went belly up, and they're like, well, the building's worth $1.3 million. We're going to put you on it, but only hold you responsible for $100,000 personal. Next thing I knew, my building was worth $480.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, that's 2008.
Yeah, that went fast.
It went fast, but in radio, these things happen. And Pete, how long have you been with the Kimmer? I mean, we knew Wayne. No offense for Kimmer fans back in the day, but you've been with Kimmer a long time.
Well, GST, when they said, okay, you can do sports, because Steve Holman moved on to WSB to follow the Hawks, and Matt Stewart had moved up, and they said, we need an afternoon sports guy, and you're going to have to do it with the Kimmer. Well, I hadn't never really worked with the Kimmer on the air.
We had, been with each other. We hadn't really been in the same team, the same shift.
And I hadn't been on the air really at GST for very long. They're doing, a nighttime show and everything. And they said, well, you'll do this. He could have said, I don't want this guy who's never done a sports thing on my show. No way I'm not going to have this rookie coming in there and doing it. Instead, he welcomes me with open arms, lets me come in there, and basically starts my career in radio, the big-time radio outside of college, on WGST.
What year was
Big
that?
time.
Do you remember?
94?
Yeah, 3 or 4. But it was even worse than that. And in fact, I was afraid I was screwing Pete because he was doing the morning sportscast.
Right.
And I went to the boss and I said, I want Pete Davis on my afternoon show.
Yeah, you've always been
He said, no.
afternoons. You did.
Well,
you
no,
were smart.
I did mornings at WSB in 1972. We had a 30 share back then. Good. 30 share. Of course, that was before. That was before. Well, think about it. 1972, there was no FM.
No, there wasn't. You're right.
We literally had a 30 share. I had my picture
Unbelievable.
in bank windows because I did the morning news on WSB.
There were no radios
Jimmy
back then.
Carter would seek me out every day at the state capitol to do interviews because he knew how big the station was and that kind of thing. Anyway, when Pete was doing morning show and I was doing I went to the boss and said, I want Pete Davis doing a sportscast on my afternoon show. And the guy says, geez, he works in the mornings. I said, I don't give a shit. I want Pete Davis on my afternoon show, period. I don't care what you have to do about it. So they went to Pete and Pete said, well, I'll do it if you don't make me go to freaking Swanee all the time. Damn! Is that right?
Hey,
Is that correct?
That's
a
absolutely
true
correct.
story.
Don't blame you.
Poor Edgar Tragans has to go out to
Yeah,
and
so
cover
Edgar got
everything.
screwed.
No,
and
that
I
sucks.
said, I want Pete. I said, I demand Pete Davis on my show. And I said, Pete, you can have as long, do it, whatever you want to do 5 news sportscasts, you want to go 20 minutes. I said, you do whatever you want. He's the greatest sportscaster, the greatest sports commentator. And he does a sports podcast, which is going to be a huge hit. No, honestly, that's just the truth. I'm not blowing smoke. I don't have to.
Is that when Holy Crap started?
Holy crap at sports.
Holy crap
That's
at
right.
sports.
That's when it started?
He said it.
Yeah.
You said, holy crap.
I said, holy crap at sports with Pete Davis. And I got that from, I think, God, where the hell did I
Robin of Batman and Robin. Didn't he say holy everything? Did he say holy crap?
I think that
He
was
might
part
have.
of it, but there
don't
was
think
there was
crap was
something else.
involved.
Crap wasn't in there, but I don't know.
Holy doo-doo, Batman.
Holy
No, I
shit,
heard
Batman.
it. It was I don't know whether it was a Mad magazine from years or something in my head, and I thought, "Holy crap!" And I said, "Oh, holy crap! It's sports with Pete Davis," and it just I did it said it
sticks.
once and it stuck.
That's the name of the podcast now, too. Holy crap
Holy
at
crap,
sports.
it's
Yeah, and tell us, what's your podcast?
Holy crap at sports with Pete Davis. You can hear it on all the things you guys got: Spotify and let's see, iTunes and Stitcher and all the good stuff. So
All right, very cool. Holy crap with Pete Davis.
Holy crap! It's sports.
Holy crap in sports. I like it. And where do you guys right now see it going? And it's obviously top of mind because The building's changing. You see a whole station removed. I say, since you guys have gone, one station's got a new studio. They're bringing one guy over to the other side, bringing somebody else. We're still treated like crap at Rock 100.5. I've got a.
Oh, you can't.
got a
Whoa,
sofa.
wait! I'm throwing the
window.
bullshit flag. Wait a minute.
Refrigerator.
Oh, yeah. You give me a break.
a minute
You
here.
lying piece of crap. You guys, that freaking bosses come in and said, "Oh, goody, let me interrupt the morning show at Rock 100 and be on the radio for a while." Oh, welcome aboard. Nice to have you in, boss.
Okay.
Give me a break. They suck up to you. You guys get anything you want, you lying bastard.
All right, look. Here's what I haven't gotten.
That set him off.
You lying piece of shit. We've been treated like crap. They've been trying to fire me for years. I could tell you stories, and after my 3-month severance is up, I will.
Okay. Wait 3 months.
3 months.
I just want to say, outside of anybody here, I love you, Cumulus.
Me too, by the way.
Yeah.
Me too.
I'm with him. I'm with him.
I'm very
Right up till September 1st.
Yep.
Yeah.
The book
my
comes
God.
out September 2nd.
But no, I'm very, yeah, you're right. I'm very fortunate. I will say that the studio needs to be redone, but that's just the only issue I have. To me, if that microphone works, and you guys may feel the same, it doesn't matter if I'm sitting on a cardboard box, as long as the mic works,
Yeah, but you guys have couches in there. You got a whole freaking suite in there.
We only
for
have
God's sakes.
we only have 2 couches.
we only had 2 chairs.
Where does Brandy sit?
Yeah, right over here.
Two knees, no waiting.
I mean, I've got I grew
You
right.
have no idea
I got
how
a
good
little
you
bit of
have it over
space.
there. You have no freaking idea how good you have it, you
Space.
bastard. You
God.
got to work with the crap we got going for you.
Rock
for 6
100.5.
years.
You got an echo in there.
Yeah.
Poor baby.
Hey, all right, here's one thing you guys had that we didn't have. You had an office. Gotcha.
Well, yeah.
Gotcha.
Well,
They
you
moved us.
Yeah, and they
Kimmer
kicked
always
us out.
gets an office. You
Yeah.
always get an
we
office.
had a view.
We had a great office for a while. We had an office with a window looking out over the parking lot down below, where they had not only the pizza place and the firehouse grill, but they had the tanning salon.
You got
and
to
the
see those
nail
girls.
place.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
the
yeah.
girls walking in with their little flip flops and little teeny little things on to go their sun tanning and their little
Come in, Tokyo
pedicures and stuff. And my binoculars were right there on the side of the counter. And honestly, we always spent all day with my binoculars checking out the babes coming across the parking lot. It was
God
great.
Show prep.
bless you.
Show prep.
All right, I will say. I will say, when I was doing afternoons on 96 Rock, we had lost the regular guys. That morning show had been fired. I didn't want to be a part of it because I just was tired of their crap. Mainly one guy's crap. And
we know that.
yeah, so you know how that goes. I just hate a-holes in
Tim
the
Andrews?
business. Yeah.
Larry was always a good guy to me. I always liked Larry, and he was.
He was afraid you were going to beat him up.
Well, I almost did that when
True.
he filled in for me that one time when I was on vacation, and anyway. But no, I never a problem with Larry.
See,
Good
you
guy.
and I are known as swingers. We will swing. I knock the breath out of
Hello.
Again,
Well, in fact, you
bad
guys have-
words, bad words. Swingers, meaning
you guys had me on when I beat up that guy on the Veterans Day parade.
that's where I'm headed.
How are you?
Yeah, Southside and Rhodes was afternoon show for 18 months. We lost the morning show, and basically we were making too much money, and they knew that they were going to blow up 96 Rock and make it an alternative station, so they had to get us out of the way. So like you, I wasn't fired. I was let go when I came back for the first day after Christmas break. When you spend all the money on your Christmas gifts, and then they say, come in an hour early because we want to talk about this year's where we want to go, and really they bring you in to say, hey, we decided to make a change. We're letting you go. But before that, when Southside and I'm talking about myself in the third person. Thank you,
man.
Woodford.
There you are right there.
Yeah, there I am. No, Rhodes and I were honored because we had known that there was a parade in Atlanta on Peachtree, and it was a Veterans Day parade, was it not?
Yeah.
It was, yes.
One of the biggest in the country, actually.
Biggest in the country. The Kimmer's there, as you see his logo on his chest, very proud Marine. And something happened there where somebody, all I know, and I'll let you tell the story, is that somebody spit on you, and right after it happened, Kimmer came on our show, and I got to tell you, some of the best radio I'd ever heard.
Well, it was the year after I say this humbly and still even can't believe it, I had been the grand marshal of the Veterans Day parade the year before. It was unbelievable. The next year, and I used to go every year because the parade was at 11:11 in the morning. So, and my show started at 3, so I was always in work, and I'd drive down to where the parade was. and watch the parade, and then go back into the station and get ready to go on the air. Well, the following year, I went down. I parked my car not far from where WSB is at Piercing Point. Is that what they call it?
It's right there in the circle.
Yeah. Anyway, the circle. So anyway, I know all the guys, and I saw the troops and the groups, and we're all saying hi, and everybody was waving and stuff like that. So I was just standing there watching the parade near where the beginning was, and there was a guy. It was one lone guy with a sign that said "Bush did 9/11." And he was on the other side of the street, and every group of soldiers or military folks who went by, he would spit at them. He couldn't reach them, but he would go "Wah!" and he would spit at the troops marching by. Nobody said anything. Nobody did anything. It was one guy. It wasn't like it was 5,000 people. It was one guy. Everybody pretty much ignored him. We knew he was there, and we didn't like him. And there were people who'd stand stuff, but we basically ignored him. At the end of the parade, I go back to my car in the neighborhood. I pull up in my car to the intersection on Peachtree Road near where the circle is, and here comes this guy down the sidewalk with this sign.
You're like, oh, damn.
And I may have said something. I
Probably may have started it verbally.
I could have initiated some contact of some sort.
Why?
Well, I had rolled my window down, and he's coming up to the car, and I called him a few things, And
What's up, Dick Lick?
I said a few things about him and his sign. And so he leaned into my car and spit at me, on me. Okay, spit on me, a Marine on Veterans Day. Okay?
That's a no-no.
Former Grand Marshal Marine on Veterans Day.
Damn.
Former Vietnam veteran Grand Marshal Marine on Veterans Day. So I got out of the car, and as soon as I got out of the car, he headbutted me. Okay, he spit on me. While I'm sitting in my car, I get out. He headbutted me. Wow. That was a ball game. I grabbed him and I slammed him. I think I broke my rearview mirror, if I recall. I cracked it because I slammed him into the car, and then I took him down and I'm wailing away on him. And these two guys pulled me off. Turns out they were both cops. They were undercover or plainclothes cops with their families. And they pulled me off the guy,
Cameron, enough.
And I'm calling him names. I'm calling him names and stuff like this. And the cop said, and I said, he spit on me. He headbutted me. And the cop said, and I didn't know they were cops. They were just two guys, And the guy said, don't worry about it. Take off. Go ahead. Take off. So I got in my car and I called him another couple of names and I slowly drove off. A couple of days later, cop comes to the radio station at the back door, knocks on the door, and says, we need to talk to Mr. Peterson. I go, okay. This guy wanted me arrested, and he filed a charge. I wasn't arrested or handcuffed, anything like that, but he filed a charge for me to have to go to court. So I went to court, met him at court. I got all my witnesses together, went into court.
2 undercover cops and their kids.
Right, the whole family's
Yeah, everybody's coming in.
Yeah,
I seen it.
So we go to court, and the guy's there, and he was a freaking psycho. I mean, he had called me several times at night over the. After that happened, and pretending that I had called him, and he said, "Yeah, I'm returning your message. What do you want now?" And I said, "What the hell are you talking about? I'd never heard of such a thing in my life. He was just a psychopath." So we get into court, and he starts telling his story, and Wayne No Offense was there as one of the witnesses, and he asked Wayne, he said, "Where's the videotape of this incident?" And Wayne said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "The videotape." He said, What videotape? There was no videotape. This guy thought that Wayne No Offense somehow was videotaping and then putting it on TV. I mean, he was out of his mind. He was just not there.
Not all there.
And I was explaining what happened. Oh, there's a bad part. I'm explaining what happened, and there's a stenographer right in the front of me while I'm talking to the judge. And I said, "Yeah, he spit on me just like this, Your Honor." And went, "Plah," like that. And I actually spit on the court report.
You did?
Swear to God.
Court reporter's like, what the hell?
And it wasn't much. It was just a little teeny. And I'm not even sure I hit her, but it was right at her, and she kind of moved as though a little spittle was going right.
I'm sorry.
And all of a sudden, the bailiff, this big black guy, bailiff, going, "Oh, wait, whoa!" And I go, "I swear to God, no, it was an accident." He was ready to beat the crap out of me right there in the courthouse. And I said, "No, I swear to God, it was that." And I said to her, "I'll buy you a new blouse. Here's $100. I'll buy you a new blouse. I'll buy you." And she says, "No, that's okay." And everything was fine. But I actually spit on the court reporter.
Hi, Your Honor. My name's Kimmer, and I'm method. I'm sorry, I'm just a little method. So it's an accident.
So we told the whole story, and the judge actually said that he's the one who should be going to jail, and asked me if I wanted to press charges against him. And I said, "You know what, Your Honor? I've said my piece. I put him in the hospital. He needed surgery.
Good.
So anyway, so I said, I think, it's come out. I could have killed him. I mean, if I had snapped his neck, if he had been in a position where I could have done it, I might have accidentally done it. Anyway, so I hurt him pretty bad, put him in the hospital, lost his job, needed surgery, stuff like that. So I came out pretty much on the top of it all. And, by the way, I still have their police report. And if I remember correctly, he described me, at the time I was 60. He described me, I was about 60. He described me as 35, 6'6", and 270.
Damn.
Okay, I'm 5'10", 5'11", 205. I mean, I'm not skinny, but I'm not 6'7", 280. Or
Starting
something.
defensive end for the Falcons.
Yeah, and I said, you know why? Because things look really big when they're that close to you.
How you like me now? I would have walked out of
Swear
court.
to
I
God.
go, clearly I'm not that individual. I'll be leaving.
I was very happy to see it. That was me, baby. Yeah, and I told, and we left the courtroom, and then his lawyer was his cousin, or his girl lawyer cousin, and so and they're behind it. She kind of came out with him right after we did. So I'm walking with my lawyer and his wife, or something, down the sidewalk, and they're right behind me. And so she says something like, well, I'm certainly glad. And before she even got 4 words out of her mouth, I stopped and I turned around and I started for him. And I said, if that son of a bitch he comes anywhere near me again, I will kill that. And he goes, like that. My lawyer's going, no, Carrie came, no, let's go, let's walk to the sidewalk here. And I said, you going to mess with me now after you already did this? And he made me go to court?
I would hate to be
Anyway.
the woman married to a guy that spits on Marines. Jeez.
Well, what an idiot. I mean, my God.
You,
I mean,
you don't do that. So for you guys, and again, I know, Brett, you worked on 106.7. This is a survivor. He survived.
Well, I tell you, Brett was
For
the
now.
most valuable. Well, he got fired when he was on vacation.
Almost fired.
Well,
Thanks to you.
Well,
and Shannon.
Well, they were cleaning house. One of the second highest new management guy there was cleaning house, and he didn't know anybody. He didn't know anybody at GSD. He didn't hire anybody at GSD. He's one of the new guys. So he's going through lists of people he didn't
1067,
1067,
yeah.
and he didn't know any of these people. And so there was a list coming out, and I heard that Brett Barney was on the list of those to be told when he came back off vacation he was going to be gone. So I went to him and I texted him immediately. I went into him and said, "You're making a mistake. Brett Barney's the only guy who knows everything. He knows he knows how to do everything around here. He's the hardest working guy you'll ever see. He
why
does
I
all
hired
the
him.
job. No, honestly,
And
it's
he's
true.
cheap.
He works everybody's shifts. He's always there. He never bitches
He's
about
the
it.
Chad Poitier
He's
of
he's
106.
the exact
I hate you.
opposite.
I hate you.
Yeah, so I said, you can't fire him. I did the same thing with Kara when they let Kara go. And I went to the
Yeah.
boss and said, no, you got to get her back on the staff. Because these people didn't know. I mean, they're making these decisions without knowing what they're doing.
I think you were going to get fired just because of your name, Brett Barney. You look at that going, what the hell's a Brett
That's
Barney?
a great radio name, though.
Yeah, it is a great name.
But it's at the top of the list, too. 'cause
Yeah,
the V.
they're like, Brett Barney. Yeah, we'll let him go.
This is how useful this guy is. He brought our groupie, Christian, today.
Yeah, I see that. I was wondering who the girl in the studio is. I didn't know if it was a fan, maybe somebody y'all are hanging out with. Who's
Side
dating her?
piece.
I know girlfriend.
Yeah, Kimmer's a single man. We know that. Yeah.
Whenever a pretty girl has a picture taken with me, I always tell people, I'm telling everybody, you're my girlfriend.
You're my girlfriend. And I understand you can sing very well. You're great singer.
She's a great singer.
Yeah, you want to come and get on the camera just so people can see what we're
She's a
talking about.
very-
Here, yeah, sit with Kimmer.
Like-
She's
Hop
a
in with
very
Kimmer.
sweet singer.
Yeah. Now we've got 3 guests. We've never done 3 guests. Is there something that you can just do? Like you got a little something, favorite song you sing?
Can you sing?
Do you want me to sing for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just give us a couple lines.
I'm just kidding. Pick a song. What song do you like?
Every rose has its thorn.
Oh, she's not going to know that one.
Pick one she knows.
Don't stop.
What do we like?
Believing.
did the other day.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I'll do Toxic by Britney Spears. We like that
Yes,
one?
I like
Oh,
that.
my God.
can you serenade Kimmer with this?
No, that's too.
Am I supposed to dance?
Yeah, about to say, if you can dance, you can get on the table. It's wood.
Oh God.
Yeah,
It sure is.
It's wood, right?
It's wood.
It's all wood.
Okay.
No, I've been stripping in
Can
the
I have
evening.
headphones? Can I have yours?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry.
You unplugged
Oh
them.
God,
I'm
you know
causing
what?
all
They're
these
stuck on my-
problems.
No,
Well, if you
they're
sat on my lap, you'd cause problems, I'm sure.
Yeah, 'cause you're the
that
only
an
married
offer?
guy here.
Yeah, come on.
What are you doing?
What have you done?
Does it go in here?
It goes in that little thingy.
Drink up, Shriners.
There you go. Come on.
Lots of firsts today. Breaking headphones.
I know.
Okay.
And your full name and how can people follow you?
She doesn't have social media.
You don't have social media?
I mean, I do, but like,
Not for you.
Well, just give us your address. They can just knock on the door.
I have a pull on the
my
pod.
God, this makes me feel so dirty. Okay.
It's not your first time.
Yeah, come on.
Maybe it is. Yeah, come on. Welcome to the
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
Come
I'll
On
do it.
show. We
Y'all
have our
ready?
first singer sitting in the Kimmer's lap. It doesn't get any better.
I got a good video of this one.
Hang on.
Go ahead. Let's hear some Britney Spears.
Oh,
Wait, I was trying to let Pete get this going.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Pete, you're operating the
God.
phone like my mother over
I
there.
know.
oh my God.
Okay.
Is this good for you?
I'm just going to sit back and drink and think of things.
Oh, Pete, are you almost done?
Oh, no, you're.
Just let her rip.
Go for it.
Baby, can't you see I'm calling? A guy like you should wear a warning. It's dangerous. I'm falling.
Dangerous.
Can I be done?
That's great.
Can I need to keep going?
Can I be done?
Can I be done?
Yeah, that was good.
That was great.
That was
Yeah.
great.
Awesome,
Very
thanks.
good.
Hey, you're so welcome.
That takes balls for
Thank
sure.
you.
Oh my God, I did it again!
Beautiful job.
Pete, you want me to get the
Well,
dangerous part, the
get
chorus?
stuck on the-
Dangerous. Dangerous.
Well done.
I got it. That's
do
where
it
it kicks in. Kimmer, whatever you do over there, just keep doing it. I got it. Now,
Excellent.
Now, one thing I'm scared to do, and I've understood that you guys are not very tolerant, even though I know you think Brett's a hard worker. But Brett Barney, you have some questions that you thought you might want to ask
I do.
Kimmer.
Okay, so I have to ask this first.
Keep
off.
in mind, hold on, I want to say this.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with this.
You
This
can
is
ask me anything.
something
I've got nothing to hide. Ask me
I
anything you
know,
want.
but I'm blind to anything he
No,
does.
seriously, well, how could I be offended by anything anybody wanted to ask me? I mean, really, I don't care.
No, okay.
How many women have you had sex with?
I got to 100 once and I couldn't remember anything else.
Hell yes. Kimmer.
Yeah, Southside thinks his
Allegedly.
number's high.
Mine, I got a high number.
July
but
of
it's all right.
1987.
Well, you got to remember, I was married for a long time, and when I was married, I don't believe
time?
in having. I was married for almost 30 years total.
Total. How many different brides?
happy-
Just two, only two, like everybody.
All right, two
happy
wives is not
Two,
bad.
it's nothing.
That's
I mean,
nothing.
My starter wife and my final wife, and ball game.
How many happy years, Mary?
Well, it's probably 8, 9 happy years total. That's
not bad.
No, that's not true.
Not bad. I remember Kimmer's motorcycle phase. Wow.
I've still got two. One, the chopper's broken, needs a new motor, but I'm still trying to sell that, hoping somebody will feel sorry for me and buy it anyway.
If you want Kimmer's chopper, I'm sitting here. The front tire of that chopper's way out there.
Oh, that was the super trike. That was my 12-foot long.
I was like,
thing.
good God, son. I mean, it was like 3 car lengths. It's
Yeah,
like,
it is.
I'm turning.
He's got a midget that sits in his lap and then helps
That's true. You can see it on the Kimmer Show
Make
Facebook
way.
page. Has a picture of my
Somebody
my
buy
super
that
trike.
chopper. That's badass. Go ahead. What are your questions?
Okay, so this is actually kind of for the room for all three of you guys, which I sometimes incorporate you, obviously.
Well, thank you so much.
You've done a lot of radio. Pete, you've done a lot of radio. Southside, you've done a lot of radio. Why are none of you guys in the Georgia Radio Hall of Fame?
Well, I know why I'm not.
I think I know why I'm not.
I know.
And matter of fact, I want to thank Kimmer for raising hell.
That's right. After they screwed you,
I got
it's the biggest
screwed.
crock of crap. I mean,
I got screwed, and the Kimmer went off, and I must have had 100 phone calls that day. Like Kimmer's giving them hell for not putting you in the hall, because I went with my mother and my father, or my mother and my stepfather, and then I went with my in-laws and my wife, and we're all sitting there dressed, and I'm thinking, surely I'm going to get in Atlanta, based on my career. And yeah, I didn't get in, and then I found out why, because I didn't understand how it worked. That you have to get people to vote for you. When those people vote for you, it costs $25 to vote, and I didn't ask anybody to vote for me.
I mean, it's
What a
it's
crock of
nonsense.
shit.
Well, I mean, and they can't.
I hate to say it, but that's true. A girl in Columbus, been in radio 9 years, is up there. I just want to tell y'all I accept this award. It's an honor. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well, there are people who've never been in radio. They have people in the Georgia Radio Hall of Fame who've never been on the radio.
Yeah, I
I mean,
don't
the
get it.
script writers and copy people. I mean, give me a break.
It's definitely got to be a voice, in
Plus,
my opinion.
you know, to me, a Hall of Fame means you are above and beyond the success rate of your basic business
Or your
You know,
peer
you're
group.
so-
You've survived.
You're so well, but survival doesn't. To me, survival's not Hall of Fame stuff. Just because
Okay.
I've been around a long time
Fair
doesn't mean
enough.
I should be in the Hall of Fame. It just means I've lasted. That's
Yeah.
that's like calling somebody a hero because he goes to job every day. Oh, that's what's that got to do with it? You're just doing your job. So I don't think I deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. If I had been. I don't know, won so many things that no one else had ever achieved what I've achieved, either in ratings or awards or something. That's one thing. But and I've won.
How
a lot
about
of
the
stuff
money you raise for charity?
Well, that's nice, but that's not you don't get a Hall of Fame for helping charities.
How about
do you?
beating up a spitter?
Well, now that to me, that would I could if they had like a violence section.
How about giving Pete Davis
like a mayhem
giving
department.
Pete Davis a career?
Well, that'll count against him.
Well, now here's the other thing, because now they can't. They don't dare invite me now because of for 15 years the last
Okay.
6. I've
Wait a
been
minute.
blasting
In the
crap
last
out
3 months, I've had 2 people come up and say they would sponsor him to be in the Hall of Fame.
There's no way. If
People you've heard of.
Okay, and I think the Kimmer should be in the Hall
No,
of
I'm
Fame.
not. I'm turn it down. I'm not going to. I don't believe I deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and I don't believe in what they're doing as their mission. If you're in a Hall of Fame, the Baseball Hall of Fame has too many iffy players who, just because they were a long time. That to me isn't not a Hall of Fame career
Harold
just because
Baines.
you've been able to pull it off. Well, Pete. You could name 10 right now who just don't deserve, and you probably name 10 who do
Harold
deserve.
Baines.
But the Hall of Fame is something spectacularly special. I'm not spectacularly special just because I've lasted 50 years in the business. That's not a
What
thing.
does Groucho say? I don't want to belong to any club that would have me, as a member.
And that's the other thing. They can't invite me now because I've been blasting them for having the people who don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't want to be in there with those people unless I go through and say, okay, this, you're out, you're out, you're out. If you don't deserve to be in there, I don't want to be in there with people who don't deserve it. Why the hell would I be with these people? Think about it. I'm serious.
Judge Smells, ladies and gentlemen.
For God's
Judge
sakes,
Smells.
you look at the list of the people who are in there and you say, no, who the what? Wait a minute. And I say, I did weekends in Columbus for 7 years. He's in the freaking Hall of
So
Fame.
what are you saying? There's a pool and there's a pond.
A pond to be good for you.
Yes.
Really.
Why were you
now
raising?
they can't invite me. They
No.
can't suggest me because I'd be laughing. I'd just be laughing at them saying, go take it and stick it. And, it's too bad because there ought to be a Hall of Fame for people.
Really?
But in radio, radio's not a Hall of Fame thing. You're broadcasting on the radio. What's freaking, Hall of Fame worthy about that?
Well, it's disposable. We'll both agree
really.
with that. I hate it.
Is there a Hall of Fame for bricklayers who do the best job of jointing when they smooth out the cement between the bricks? Give me a break.
They call it the mortar.
Just
The-
because you've done it for
Masons.
50
Masons.
years
The
doesn't
Masons.
mean
They call it the Masons.
No, it's
Masons.
all stupid.
All right, now why did you raise hell for me?
Because what's wrong?
Do you think I deserve to be in the Hall
Well,
of Fame?
yeah. Well, no.
That's good for you.
No, let the Kimmer talk.
Wait a minute. If they're going to invite you and then you have to pay all this money and you're supposed to, it costs you like $700 to have people go to dinners and
I took everybody
and
to dinner
all
on
this
me.
stuff and then you don't get in. It's unbelievable. And how they compare Southside Steve's career with some of the people who are in the Georgia Radio Hall of Fame. It just doesn't make
like
any
this
sense.
to this.
It's just silly.
I hear you.
And I'm not trying to blast anybody. I'm just saying I don't think there are. If you have a Hall of Fame, it ought to be so spectacular for people to say, "Oh God, I've heard of him." Paul Harvey.
Sure.
Come on.
Elmo Ellis.
Well, he was my first boss at WSB in 1972. In fact, he did a pro. He used to do Elmo Ellis's pro and con commentaries, and he did one on me because I used to say, "Enjoy your grits" when I finished my morning newscast at 7:00 with Aubrey Morris and all those guys back then. John Moore show back then.
This is all the
And
70s?
I've been 1972 for several years, and remember Officer Jerry Price was on helicopter traffic. Anyway, and so Elmo Ellis.
It looks rough out here. I ain't gonna kid you.
When I was signing off, I'd say, so enjoy your grits. This is Kim Peterson, WSB, AM 750, whatever. Well, people started calling in and saying, is he being sarcastic or is he making fun of it? Well, Elmo Ellis had to do a commentary on me saying, enjoy your grits. I swear to God, I've still got a copy of it.
Here's
somewhere.
what he means, people.
And that's where that's my opinion. We welcome
yours.
Man, I didn't think that happened back in the 70s. Like
No, it
that
did.
outrage. Yeah.
Before you were born.
I love it.
Well, that was a whole different time. They used to play when they used to play One Toke Over the Line by whoever the hell sang that, but they had to call it One Over the Line. They couldn't say the word toke. They could play the song. But they could play One Toke Over the Line, sweet Jesus. But they said, and now here's One Over the Line with whoever these people are. Because they couldn't say the word toke.
My mother's listening, and I don't want her to think I've ever took.
You had to wear a jacket and tie every day in radio news, period.
I knew that. I knew that.
We were very strict back then.
That's all the more reason to toke up, man.
All right, what's your other question?
Okay, I got a few different ones. The most controversial day at 106.7 that I can think back now, looking at the entire time that we spent together, was Michael Graham's last day.
Who?
Can you guys walk me through what happened on your? I mean, I know I was there, but
And let us know, for those of you that don't know, Michael Graham was an air personality on.
he was on from 9 to noon,
Right.
before he was the lead into their show, and there was a lot of hate between the two shows.
He was killing us.
Well, he was a jerk. I mean, he was just a jerk. Nobody liked him. Nobody wanted to work with him. I mean, literally, there were. I know people. No, I know people who are out of work in this business, and were called and said, "Do you want to be on the Michael Graham show as producer, or whatever?" And they'd say, "No, I don't. I'm not going to work with him because he was such a dipshit." And
I just want to starve. Let me
no,
starve.
he was just a miserable, nasty and
No
snotty and just a bad guy. Nobody
I knew him
liked
from
him.
the water cooler. I didn't know him.
He's just a jerk. I mean, total jerk. And so, and he would kind of backstab us in sort of a mamby-pamby way where he wouldn't really confront anybody, but he was kind of one of these backstabbers who would, go around and about just to try to make a point. It was just kind of the weaselly, you know what I mean?
I understand.
He wouldn't confront anybody. He was just kind of a weasel. And then the last day, oh my God,
It was technically the day before his last day. It was a Thursday. He was supposed to end on a Friday.
Yeah, and so I'm coming into work and I'm listening to the show, and he's playing. He made a production piece, and I forgot whether it was an announcer giving a.
It was almost like
biography
a
about it was like a commercial for my show, I think, kind of in a way, but it was something like, "And yes, Kim Peterson, who has a sodomy dream with his horse Jack the Good Boy, and this crazed Vietnam veteran who is a psychopath who loves to kill children." I mean, it was like that, on and on and on, and. I went, no. I said, "You've got to be kidding me." He was saying that I was having sex with my horse, and that I was a crazed, drug-addled Vietnam psychopath, murderer, child killer,
With
Vietnam
PTSD.
veteran. With post-traumatic stress syndrome and all this other stuff. And he went on and on in this whole bit, and I couldn't believe it. So I got into work and I went to my boss and I said, "I'm going to kill him. I'm going to freaking kill him." And so, this was not Don. What's his name?
Greg Tanum.
Greg Tanum.
Yeah.
So Greg said, "Kimmer, calm down." So he walks me he walks me out of his office, and I'm going to kill the son of a bitch. I'm going to kill him bastard. I swear to God, when he gets out of here, I'm going to go down there and get him. In the meantime, Pete goes into the studio on the air. He's doing his bits on the air.
This is what I've heard. That Pete gets loose.
Tell the people, Pete, what you did while he was still on the air with his mic on, and Pete barged in the studio.
Ever the calm, collected one of the group.
You totally are, and I want to hear this story because let me tell you, I got phone calls at home going, "Oh my God!" So they're losing it. The Kimmer and Pete are going to beat him up. So tell us exactly what happened.
I think it was right after Greg had settled Kimmer down, and I'm walking by Greg's office, and for some reason I stepped into Greg's office, and I'm talking about he's saying this and this and there, and he goes, "Just don't worry about it. Just calm down. It's going to be fine." And he calmed me down. I stepped out of his office, and I looked down the hall. It's about 15 yards or something like that, and I couldn't even see if the light was on. And I'm walking down. If I'd have made a right, nothing would have happened. But I made a left.
Why did you do that, Pete?
Going toward the source.
Going toward the source, and I get to the door, and I look in, and there he is with this goofy look on his face, and he's sitting there talking, and I didn't realize I'm on the air thing, and I just see red. I kicked the door open.
While on the air.
While on the air, and I don't know he's doing this, but I kick the door open, and I go, "You are a fucking asshole."
Dumb.
And the look on his face, he freezes, right? And who was bored on? Was it Chad or so?
No, it was Eric.
Eric.
Remember Eric?
He was like,
Soccer boy.
Oh, God.
completely.
So soccer boy's hitting the dump button like,
They turn
"Oh
white."
my God. Oh my God.
And I'm just sitting there pointing at him, "You son of a," like this.
Yeah.
And then I realized they're on the air. It's like, oh, they're on the air.
Boy.
So I back out. And this is what's going on. So I back out. Everybody's running down the hall like this, going. So I walk around the corner, and I hear him. He gets off the air, and he starts yelling or something. Then the door's open. So something about me. So I turn around, and I come right back. And I think it was you and Greg Tanum hold me.
Yeah.
By both arms. Because I'm at the door, I'm going in. And Michael's sitting back there behind the little desk and everything. And once he sees that Brett and Greg has me, all of a sudden he's Mr. Big Shot. He jumps up out of the chair and comes rushing, toward the door.
Can we not mention that Graham is like 6'5", 6'6"? Like he's a tall guy.
He's not
Now,
bulky,
he's
but
not a
he's
little
tall.
guy.
He's
He-
big.
He's just tall. Is he off the air? Is he off the air at this point?
Of course. He's-
All right, so now he's off air, and now he's coming to the door that you're outside of being held by two employees.
Which he can't see. I'm being held. So he thinks he's going to be Mr. Big Shot and run up to me and gets right up to me and realizes that I'm being held. And all of a sudden, he just stops cold and starts backing up. Because if they let go of me, I'm going to kill it.
Yeah. So, and that was it? Did you, and
Well,
you're just yelling things at the guy? And
I was being led down. Greg is trying to calm me down, so he's patting me on the shoulder. Oh, come here, so, like that.
Your program
and
director.
And I'm walking through the sales department with all the cubby holes and all the salespeople at the top of my lungs. Just son of a, I'm going to kill him. I swear to God, if he comes into my home, I'm going to freaking kill him. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to snap his freaking neck. I'm going to break his bone. And at the top of my lung, Greg said, "It's all right, Kimmer. It's all right, Kimmer." and the sale again. Once the salespeople were popping their heads up out of their cubby holes. What the hell? And there were guys who were on the phone talking to clients and stuff. So on it.
look, we really want your business, okay? Don't pay any attention
the real,
to that.
The real big boss
fire
came to
alarm.
me later and said, "You're going to have to apologize
To
to
the-
the salespeople."
You have to go basically in
So
front
I
of
had
everybody.
so I had to go back into the sales,
Hi,
and
everyone.
I did apologize. I said, I apologized for raising my voice and being unprofessional at workplace. I didn't apologize for what I was doing, and it turned out they called him and said, "Don't come in tomorrow."
I remembered that. He did not show up.
That was his last day.
Yeah, they went
as
ahead
it
and
turned out.
said goodbye, and I think he went up to Washington or something. But
Yeah, he's in D.C.
Yeah, but that is a guy that nobody missed. So
Well, he was just a jerk. I mean, but he brought it on himself, you know. And,
Yeah.
and as he did a terrible show, and he hated. The other thing, he got caught. He had a famous mugshot. He got caught by the cops up in Boston. He's a liberal, Boston liberal.
Got it.
Pretended he was a conservative, but he really was anyway. And he hated cops. And remember the hot car case of the guy who worked as the software guy and
At Home
Yes.
Depot.
little boy in the car.
he found it at Chick-fil-A. He
Right.
freaks out in front of
And,
everybody.
well, Michael Graham was using this as an excuse to bash the cops, saying that they were setting him up. He hated cops. Every chance he got, he would blast police.
Oh, hell
Every
no.
chance he got, he would bring up something to bash the cops. And I called him on that. I mean, he was just a jerk. Anyway,
He's a douchebag.
Yeah, he is. That's the definition of.
So that's a
God
Michael
bless
Graham
first
story.
responders and other
There
first
you go.
responders. I can drink to
Hoorah.
that. You got another dumb
Kimmer.
question?
Absolutely.
Actually, these are great because these are stories that are legendary, and we're getting to the bottom
Do you
of
have
it.
a question for Ron Mexico, by the way?
Okay, I've been debating. If
Here's
I
the herpes.
I've
I don't have them though.
been debating if I should ask this one, but I'm gonna ask it. And you know me, we've known each other for a while. We've worked together. You spent a lot of time in the Marine Corps, obviously.
Well, a few, yeah.
Yeah, you served. And a lot of people will go online. I've read the stuff. People have called in. I've call screened for your show before, and they'll say your time in the Marine Corps is much like Elvis's time in the military. That you were just kind of like this celebrity that got brought around to boost morale with the troops.
What?
Can you tell me
What
that?
are you, Bob F. and Hope? Are you kidding me?
No, like
Hi, I'm the camera. Let's keep killing.
I'm the Kimmer.
Is he crazy? Is he something?
you know what I mean. Is there any
No,
truth
no,
to
no,
that? Because I would rather put that to rest.
Well, no.
He's more like the Anne Margaret.
Well,
And
no.
Margaret? Oh, that's
I was
sexy.
in communications. I did okay when. Oh God. When I was at Camp Pendleton, I'd been there. I went to Paris Island, Camp Lejeune for infantry training, the Camp Pendleton, and I wanted to go to Vietnam. Well, my enlistment was coming up at the end, so I had like 8 months or a little less than a year to serve, and I kept trying to go to Vietnam. So I would go to my top sergeant. I said, "I want to go to Vietnam," and he said, "Well, our unit's not going." I was at Camp Pendleton, California, and he said, "We're not going." I said, "Well, I want to go. Can you pull some strings?" So, I mean, my whole life I wanted to go. I wanted to be a Marine, and when Vietnam happened, I said, "Oh my God, it's perfect." I mean, I always wanted to be a Marine, and if you're a Marine, who doesn't want to go to war for your country? I mean, my God, this to me was. I remember as a little boy. I'm a baby boomer, born after World War II, and I remember one of the coffee table books we had in our house was the World War II, big, huge, thick coffee table book of pictures and stories about war. And I remember reading that as a little kid, and I remember hearing on the radio when I was about 5 years old, 5 or 6, 7, during Korea. And I remember a big old Philco box radio in our living room, and I remember hearing about some Marines who saved a village in Korea. I mean, just the basic thing about it. And I thought, oh my God, what a glorious thing that's got to be. Anyway, so that was my life growing up. My dad was a Navy officer, and I used to put on his uniform when I was 5. So anyway, it's okay. So
At least you weren't dressing up in your mother's clothes.
I didn't know that was
As a
that was a
whack.
whole misunderstanding. But that we don't want to get into.
What do you think of this uniform in these hills?
So I always wanted to be a Marine. So anyway, I joined the Marines, and finally my time was coming up, and I wanted to go to Vietnam. And so the guy said, "Well, I'll see if I can pull you some orders, but you're going to have to re-enlist." I didn't tell that to my fiance at the time.
Hell no! I'm going to do another year.
Yeah, back in the East. So I went home on Christmas leave in 1967. I was home on Christmas leave in New England with my fiance, and I got a call from Camp Pendleton and said, "Your orders are here. You're going to Vietnam. You don't have to go because you have to re-enlist." So I could have said, "Screw it, I'm not going to go."
Screw it, I'm home with
but
my
I wanted
girl.
to go. So anyway, so I didn't say anything to her. I just said, "My orders are in. I'm going to Vietnam." So she said, "Let's get married." So on 6 days' notice, we had 200 people at a sit-down wedding, 6 days' notice, got married in 6 days, drove across country with a trailer to Camp Pendleton, was there for a couple of weeks, drove her back, and then flew to Vietnam. So that was my honeymoon, was basically on the way to go to Vietnam. Okay, so the
Having sex at motels across America.
so the issue.
Hi, honey, we're going to sleep in Oklahoma tonight, and I'm going to give it to you really good.
Is that her name, Oklahoma?
But the issue was that I was going over by myself. I was not going as part of a unit. I had individual orders. I was going over by myself. And so I did, and so I ended up. I was in communications. I was a combat correspondent. I was also hired by the USIA department to work with field translators who wanted to work with troops out in the field for GI translators between the Vietnamese and American stuff. I did all kinds of stuff because I was independently stationed while I was over there. So I did. I was never part of a parade committee, or I was never singled out for anything. I was not a personality.
I heard you worked with Carol Burnett for a weekend or something.
Well, no, that was back in.
Did you or did you not have sex with Carol Burnett? Because I love the Carol Burnett show.
Well, I'm going to finish. I want to
too.
finish up Brett saying I was in communications. I covered a lot of news stuff. I also did behind the scenes things that were kind of iffy about duties and stuff, responsibilities, because again, I wasn't really beholden to anybody except MACV, which is the headquarters command out of Saigon. I spent a lot of time in Cholan. That's where I got my first action. About the first night I was there, I told the story before I left too long.
So you saw action your very first day in Vietnam.
I came under rocket attack a few minutes after landing at Tan Son Nhut Air Base. I got there during the Tet Offensive of '68.
Good God, that's bad
That's when I
timing.
landed. So bad timing. So for people who people say people who are claiming I was some kind of a celebrity bond raiser or something, you can kiss my ass, man. I almost got blown up my first freaking 7 minutes in the freaking country, and 12 hours or 18 hours. I don't even remember later. I remember going to a Navy. God, do I tell this story again? I'm trying to avoid these
under
Vietnam
15
stories.
minutes.
Well, it's just stupid. So I remember. I don't know how I got
Thanks for
there. I was
asking the
standing.
question.
I was told we can't come and pick you up to go to where you're going to be going because it's too dangerous. We have to ride in three vehicle convoys now because of the Tet Offensive. All hell's breaking loose. There's freaking bombs all over the place. People going to shit. I remember standing at a counter at Navy Supply. How I got there, I don't remember. They gave me an M1 carbine, not an M1 Garand like in famous World War II things. This is an M1 carbine, which basically is a 22 looking thing. Yeah. And I had 2 clips, or 2 magazines, so I banana clipped those with duct taped it, back to back. So that I had about 40 rounds of ammo with me in this little M1 pea shooter, which I'd never seen one, let alone fired one. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know how to clean it. I didn't know crap, but I had one in my hand.
Yeah.
The guy says, "Okay, we're going to put you up on the roof of this building over here, and just if you see something, react." I said, "Okay, fine, great." I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
See something, shoot something. See something, shoot something.
I was a 20-year-old sergeant in the
that's the
Marine
same.
Corps. I didn't know squat what I was doing. I didn't know where I was, and I'm up on this freaking balcony looking. And it's nighttime, and there's firing and stuff going on, and I'm trying to shoot people. I don't know whether I'm hitting them or not because I can't see crap, and I'm hoping to God it's not just some guy who lives there, and I'm shooting it for no reason, I mean, honestly.
What's your problem?
I mean, but I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, I'm a Marine in Vietnam. I got my freaking wish, and all of a sudden now I'm shooting this rifle I've never even held. I've never seen one before, and I don't know who I'm shooting at. I'm just doing whatever I'm supposed to be doing. It's all freaking hell's breaking loose, and all of a sudden I hear this like that, and I can't see anything. And I look, it was off to my left, and I look up, and it had to be, I don't know, you can't tell at night, a few hundred yards away. All of a sudden, I hear this, phoom, 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 and you see these incredible rocket glares coming out of a gunship, which is hovering in the dark with no lights on. Boom, boom, boom. And there's crap exploding all over the place. And I'm thinking to myself, holy Christ, honestly, God, it didn't hit me at the moment, but a little while later it did. Holy crap, I'm on a balcony. I'm on a rampart and watching the rockets red glare off a freaking gunship. Holy Christ! I mean, it's the reason you go to war. I mean, honest to God, I couldn't. This is a truce. I mean, holy shit, it's real. I mean, it's the ramparts, red glare, bombs bursting in air, and this is it. I'm right. It's there. I mean, it was like Francis Scott Keys next to me writing down what I'm freaking seeing here.
Was the flag still there in the morning?
I never saw a flag. There's not one goddamn flag. Oh, sorry. Edit that.
No,
sorry.
You can say,
That was
what,
bad.
you're a proud Marine. We'll let that go.
But anyway, I'm sorry about that.
No.
But still, I mean,
One rule.
One rule.
I'm a Marine.
Rule.
I can't help it. And it was overpowering. I mean, it was absolutely overwhelming. And I remember thinking to myself, holy crap, this is it. And I had all this within 2 days of being there.
Unbelievable.
I mean, hell, I used to give treats. You come out of mess halls, and we had our uniforms had huge pockets. Have you seen the green utility thing? And they have these huge pockets for good reason. And if you come out of a mess hall, I would always bring a bunch of apples and oranges and biscuits or whatever,
and a muffin,
and give them to the kids. Or
I'd have a muffin.
There were the street urchins. This was the worst part about Vietnam was the fact that there were children living in the street. I mean, literally street children, babies.
Yeah, it's got to be
children
tough to see.
abandoned. And so I would all feed them. I would give them all I could out of my pockets. And you learn real quick, like the first day. They're all jumping up saying, oh, GI, 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 like this. And they're all jumping up and hanging on to stuff like that. And what they're also doing is stealing your watch, stealing your money. I mean, these kids are brought up with no families, no nothing, living in the street.
They don't
for
have a
handouts.
choice, yeah.
So I mean, it was just, there were young girls there who would be willing to do things for the GIs through a fence for 50 cents.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I tell you, there was one little girl who got blown up in a bomb. I wanted to adopt her. I thought, God, she was just precious. She was like an angel. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say I'm about to regret my question on that one.
To quote Otis
Sorry.
Nixon, that's the dumbest question I've ever heard.
Anyway, now for the record, let me end it this way. I was certainly not a celebrity. I was not like a USO guy. Although God bless USO, when I almost got blown up, they called my family, and we didn't have cell phone. There was no satellite feeds in Vietnam.
No.
I mean, there was nothing there, and the USO went out of her way to call my family to say your son's alive, everything's fine. We got blown up, and children were dying. It was brutal. Anyway, so God bless the USO. They were terrific. I can't say enough about the USO. But for the record, I'm not a hero. I'm not a combat expert, and I'm also not some celebrity who was living off a bond tour or something like that. I was just a freaking Marine. I did my job. I did my duty. I'm proud of it. I'm not saying anything, apologizing for anything for anybody, and I don't have any regrets. And I did a few things that I would not have done in civilian life, but that's too freaking bad. It's the way it goes. And frankly, if you're going to war, the only reason you don't want to have a war is because they are freaking brutal. And if you're going to go to war, the only reason you go to war is to kill people and break things. And if you think it's any different than that, then you're a freaking idiot. And if you want to join the Marines, you better join the Marines because you want to go kill for your country. And you want to go blow somebody up and hurt people to make your country stronger. That's the only attitude you can take if you're going in the Marines. Now, if you want to do something else, fine. But don't, everybody can get off my freaking back. I'm no hero. I've never claimed to be a hero. And I served, and I'm proud of it. And that's the ball game.
I say cheers to a proud Marine.
No, I
cheers.
Well,
And you know what? What do you have to say about anybody wanting to go in the Coast Guard?
God bless him. Honestly, I never have a thing. I mean, anybody who serves in uniform, cops, first responders, all those guys are aces.
Oh, no.
I never had
My brother actually left a corporate job after 30 years, became a fireman for Loganville this past year.
Really?
And
Good
he
for him.
did it at 51. Unbelievable.
I can't believe they let him.
Yeah, dude, they
Really?
did. They let him. He got in there physically. The guy's a specimen, and he was right there with all the 20-year-olds,
By the way,
21-year-olds.
to answer your question, yes, he did sleep with Carol Burnett.
Yeah, I wanted to know that one.
Oh, you
too.
want to tell you that story?
I just know that you were there with Carol Burnett. I do also
This
want to toot your horn that once you left the Marines and you came stateside, you did get a degree in communications.
When I came back, the only school that would let me in was Arizona State. I'd been through 2 years of college, and I had no credits. I mean, literally had no credits. So my wife at the time got a job in Phoenix at GE or something there, and our cousins lived there. Her cousins lived there. And so she went to Arizona State while I was in Vietnam and said, my husband is going to be coming home. Can you let him in here? And they said, well, we'll put him on probation. Because I literally had 2 years of college with no credit. I think I maybe one geology class credit.
God, you were like a bad frat starting out.
Well, I went to
He's on probation.
I went to an all-boys prep school.
Yeah.
So when I went to college, I was not ready for college. I just didn't give a crap about anything. I was just good. Anyway, so I flunked out and I flunked out twice. I had no credits. I hadn't do squat, and so that's when I enlisted in the Marines. Anyway, so when I was coming out, I had nothing to work for. My starter wife got me into Arizona State on probation.
Starter wife.
Well, I did 4 years of college in 2 years. I went to summer school. I went at night. I worked 7 days a week at Cool Television and Cool KOOL, owned by Gene Autry, by the way, in Phoenix,
awesome.
Arizona, who also owned KOLD in Tucson, Cold and Cool TV and radio. So I worked radio in the morning at Cool. Then I went to Arizona State. Then I came back and worked at night at the radio station Monday through Friday, and then weekends I worked Saturday and Sunday doing sports and weather from 2 in the afternoon until 11 at night, 7 days a week, and going to school full time. And I got my 4-year degree in 2 years because I went year round, summer school, and everything. I was dedicated. I was I was pretty dedicated.
Sure.
Then I went to graduate. I got a master's at Michigan State. Did all that in 10 months. And then came to WSB in 1972.
What's that got to do with fucking Carol Burnett?
No, the Carol, when I was in the Marines before the Marine Corps birthday was, I forgot what month it was, but in 1967, it was like the 50th Marine Corps, Camp Pendleton. It wasn't Marine Corps birthday, it was Camp Pendleton's birthday. And so as part of that, they had Carol Burnett, Jim Nabors, and Nancy Sinatra come to entertain the troops. And I don't know how I got into this. I'd say I don't remember, but I somehow was assigned to be with them all day, to walk them around and do whatever, they
Was
needed.
Neighbors done with Gomer Pyle at that time, or was he?
He might have still been doing it. I think he was probably, well, it was 1967. So
he was still doing
probably.
Gomer Pyle.
Anyway, so,
He was still
and
on
Carol
Marines.
Burnett and Jim Nave, they were the sweetest people in the world. Nancy Sinatra she looked like she couldn't have weighed 60 pounds. It looked like you could put your hands around her waist. I mean, she was just teeny. And she was kind of stupid. She was nice, but she was, I don't really want to go over there now. Maybe later. It's just, just not really there, But she was fine. I don't want to say, I have nothing bad to say
I'm
about her.
wealthy. I don't have to have a
But
thought.
Jim
connected.
Nabors and Carol Burnett were such a sweet couple. I mean, they were just friendly and happy, and we sat around and talked and goofed around. And then at the end of the day, they were in a trailer, and I walked out of the trailer, and we shook hands, and I was ready to walk down the steps of this trailer. And there was a cameraman standing at the bottom of the steps, and he said, Miss Burnett, can we get a picture? And she said, sure. So she grabbed me and grabbed my face and kissed me on the cheek.
Nice.
And held it, had her hands on my face and held my face and kissed me on the cheek, and that's the shot the guy got. He put it in the newspaper, the San Diego Tribune or the San Diego Union, it was all over the country. And so when it was on AP Wire, and so the picture of Carol Burnett kissing Kim Peterson in 1967 was all over the country. My mother saw it. I sent her a copy out of the local paper. This is a true story. My mother wrote Carol Burnett, Hollywood, California, and sent the letter off and said, do you have a copy? Do you remember my son? You kiss him on the cheek, and you might have a copy of that picture. I'd love to have the picture. Carol Burnett actually wrote my mother back a handwritten letter saying, I remember that. He was such a great guy. We had a great day. I wish I had the copy of the picture. I don't. But Semper Fi. I mean, Carol Burnett wrote back
That's
my
awesome.
mother.
You keep that.
I mean,
letter.
geez.
Can't find the picture either. We've looked.
Oh no, we
cannot-
found it. Remember the
Did you
guy
find
said it. A guy, so
one
the
guy
guy,
found it.
a guy. So I mentioned on the air that I haven't seen it in 50 years, and a guy found it in the file somewhere in some California newspaper obituary column. Or, I mean, what are the morgue column? They call it the newspaper morgues are all
Right,
their files, and sent it to me.
That's
on,
awesome.
Fax me a copy of it. Carol Burnett kissing me on the cheek.
That is huge.
I mean, you know what a life. God,
Nah.
just think about it.
The only thing-
I spent time with Bob Hope. Frank
Yeah,
Sinatra.
Bob Hope, I was gonna
Frank
say.
Sinatra's bodyguard roughed me up one time in Chicago.
So he really
Chili,
was.
General principles.
So he really was in the mob. I
Of
guess.
course he was in the
Of course
mob.
he was in the mob. I can tell you, the only person ever grabbed my face and kissed it that I'm proud of, John Travolta.
Oh God,
I know.
Yeah, he liked it more than you did. I bet.
Yeah, John.
Cheers.
I wish I would have had Carol Burnett. Big fan. Big
Tried
fan.
to get her on the show
was
twice.
so
She's been
nice.
here at DeKalb Galleria Sexual Energy Center twice. Both
Hilarious.
times could not get her on the show.
She is a great lady.
She really is. I
She
mean,
was a
that's the
great lady.
TV we all grew up with.
Yeah.
Do you have one final quickie question that doesn't get weird?
Yeah. Okay. You really think I'm gonna go there?
No, you're going to go weird.
I want to ask this.
Don't ask him what's there more of, people or chairs? I hated that question.
That was a great.
Who
question.
would win in a fight? But it was the two blind guys.
I asked Otis Nixon who would win in a fight, Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder.
I mean, damn. So you're going to get one of those, Kimmer.
In their prime. In their prime. No, actually, I'm going to ask you guys a serious question, but I would like each of you guys to answer separately, if that's okay.
All right.
Currently, what show is the best radio show in Atlanta?
That's interesting.
Honestly,
And you don't have to say this one because he's on it.
oh no, I'd
His-
say if I listen every
always listen to
every morning.
Southside.
I go to I get the paper. I'm up early, 5 o'clock every morning. I get the paper and I'll go see my horse. And every day as soon as I get in the car, I start popping all the radio stations. If I listen to Southside, I always listen to Rock 100. I listen to 96. I listen to 94, 97, 98.5, 95.5 for just to see what's going on. But I can't listen to that Von Himmler. Honestly, the best show that I used to listen to was Shannon Burke. You know, that's the one I never wanted to miss was his show. And now, I mean, I listen to you guys, but I don't really, like Bailey this morning had the Walinda guy. So, well, I don't give a crap about the Walinda guy. So I listen for a while, but I skip around because I'm a news junkie.
He's
so I
a
listen to everybody.
5-generation tightroper.
But I don't. But I don't have. I listen to XM, Sirius XM, and my DVR, my tapes rather. My
Well,
CDs.
I know you've listened to us, and I know you've talked
every
about
day,
me
every day.
on your show. I always got the phone calls. Yeah, always got a message.
We always listen to you.
we always listen to
Kimmer's
you.
talking about you.
Oh yeah, we always.
Kimmer's talking about your wife being 12. I'm like, he's not far off.
she's
gotta-
14.
She's got to get home early. She has a paper due.
Pete,
Yes, sir.
currently the best show on radio.
Well, like he said, now that Shannon's show is not on the air anymore, I'd have to say Chris Domino and Nick Cellini over at 680. I think
Okay.
they have the best chemistry. They're like brothers.
They really are. Did you think, and we'll go there just because he was the force in my career. Christopher Rude gave me my opportunity. He's the one that nicknamed me Southside Steve. What did you think of the show when Chris was on it? Did you think it needed, as a sports guy, to just be sporty and take out the humor aspect of it, and take Chris out of there? Do you think it's better?
I didn't get to hear a lot of it when Chris was doing the show, so there's some reason I wasn't either up or I wasn't available to watch the radio.
I
listen to
see
the radio at that time.
Atlanta, and I'll say this: Atlanta radio. If it doesn't have you two, and if it doesn't have Christopher Rude, there's something bad going on to me.
Well, is Chris on now somewhere?
He is. Chris is now working, but I looked at the River as a possibility for him. I just don't know if he'd work at Rock 100.5, but obviously extremely loyal. But that's huge that y'all both say Shannon Burke. So that's a huge loss to the Atlanta radio.
To me, he was the next after Kimmer. Ever since Bortz retired, there's been a want since we were off the air.
Right.
And Shannon Burke was the closest thing to Bortz.
That's a huge
I think we've
compliment.
had.
Huge compliment.
Because
coming
I grew
from
up,
you
I
two.
mean, Bortz was one of the guys that I was intimidated by, and all of a sudden I'm working with the guy, and it was like, holy cow, that's one of my idols. When I was a kid, my parents listened to this guy.
Yeah.
So.
Let's be honest. The best part of the Shannon Burke show was the last segment, right?
What were you on?
That was my segment on his show.
Trending, yeah. yeah. Until you started going into the bathroom stuff.
Ratings killer.
Boom, click. Well, that's it for the Kimmer.
I just want to thank the two of you for
Wait,
being
can I
on.
ask a random question?
No, hell no.
Come on, just
we're
give me
done.
one. I got a military guy. This one I need to get out of me.
No, I mean,
Come on, just let me get it out.
No, you're not gonna fart or anything.
By the way, Pete and I are not holding the camera off.
Okay.
I will let him destroy you.
Kimmer.
Yes.
All right, hypothetically,
Yeah.
Hummer. Great car.
Yeah, I
They have
owned
the
one.
H1. Exactly.
I had one.
Now let's think about this.
I had the original Hummer.
If Hummer never came out
had
with
a
the
few.
if Hummer never came out with the H1 and had only ever invented the H2 and the H3, would they not be, or would they be the douchiest car company of all time? Answer the man.
I have no idea what you mean.
So if Hummer never had the H1, because the H1's so badass, but if they only had the H2
Well,
and the
but you
H3,
can't drive the H1 on the street. I mean,
Yeah, but
I
the
did
H2
once
and
and
the
almost
H3?
took out every mailbox going up Peachtree Road in a parade one
Do you
time.
know I drove ours? I had one for a year, and I did some horribly.
You can't drive them.
I had two sisters do some weird stuff.
And you also
in me.
can't park them.
Yeah, and
and my H2, you can't park it anywhere. Try to
douchey
park
car,
it.
though. Douchey car.
Do you remember?
No, listen, that car was great. And when I bought my H2, I also had all those spotlights up on the top.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
6 spotlights. Those things was light up for a mile.
Right.
It was a damn thing ever. And it had 350 horsepower.
I thought I had a buzz going
But it
on
had-
the board. I was like, what is that noise?
I got to the point that I was able to, the H1, basically, there's only about 3 inches on either side of the lane when you're driving that.
can't drive
and dude, I got to be so good with that damn thing. I was one arm, and I will tell you, I got, what do you call it when you get dizzy? What is that shit?
Vertigo.
Vertigo. I get vertigo. I'm doing a 3 for gig, and on my second gig, I'm walking up, and I'm like going left and down, and I don't know, I had something going on with my ears, and you know her, Rachel Greathouse.
I love her. I want to marry
Love
her.
Rachel.
perfect.
Rachel is my sales girl, and I'm like, you got to get me to a doctor. I can't walk, so I leave. So we're driving the H1. She won't get behind the wheel. So I'm behind the wheel, and you have to realize my world's on tilt. So I'm like hitting the gas and the brake. She's leaning across and steering, and we drove to Piedmont
You
Hospital.
can't
in the
drive
H1.
those. You can't drive those.
But
They're
Hummer,
brutal.
douchiest car ever.
I don't know why. I don't know what you mean by that.
I think they're cool.
Mine was
Majority
great.
of drivers are douchebags.
No, there's douchey cars out there. I don't
Then
like
name a
any-
douchey car other than Harley.
any
A Saab.
any
Prius.
Hold on, any
Fiat,
asshole.
BMW.
Thank you. Any asshole driving a Prius.
BMW.
If you drive a Prius, you and I have serious
A
issues.
Leaf.
You better have the best damn personality in the world, and you better vote right.
Saab,
Yeah, but-
Citroen.
A Saab. So, yeah,
Prius. I just want to say in closing, I want to thank both of you for being on the Yeah Come On show. You're both friends. I think you're both fantastic at what you do, and I want you back on the air as soon
I
as
keep
possible.
these peanuts?
No, you can't, Pete. I don't give a damn how bad you're struggling because I saw your ass drive up in a Porsche. Yeah, Pete's suffering. He's in a Porsche. He's in a Porsche, and I said Porsche. I know, Porsche. I just want to give you guys a cigarette break. And what we do on this show, on the Yeah Come On show, is the average time to smoke a cigarette.
2 to 4 or 5 minutes.
So I want to give you guys at least a quickie on a cigarette just to tell me, and Pete, we'll start with you, what you've got going. Again, it may have been mentioned in the show, but I want people to keep up with the two of you. We want you guys back on the air soon.
Well, until we get back on the air, it's the Holy Crap It's Sports podcast. And by the way, everybody in this room, everybody is invited to come on anytime you want. It's completely open. Holy Crap It's Sports with Pete Davis. You can get it on iTunes, the Facebook page that we put up soon coming to YouTube. You can get on Stitcher, Spotify, all the good stuff. So
Okay. And Kimmer?
Well,
Are you not going back to one of your mini? Are you leaving for one of your mini houses?
no, God.
Are you taking your horses and your still horses
No,
somewhere?
I was up with Jack the Good Boy this morning already, and I'm going to go back again this afternoon. He was trapped in last night. When it's going to be rain and stormy at night, they don't. In the summertime, they put him out all night and bring him in during the day because it's too hot. But when it's really stormy, then they leave him in all night. So he's been in. He was in all day yesterday, in last night, and in again today. So I went up there this morning to take him out, and I'm going to go back again this afternoon and get him out in case he doesn't go out tonight, just to walk him around. But anyway,
Ride your horse.
yeah, there you go. He's my boy. Actually, I have no social media stuff. I'm not on Twitter or doing this stuff. In fact, I can't. I still on my phone. I get alerts about Facebook has said, "Oh, you've got new messages and stuff." It won't let me into my own Facebook page. I cannot get onto my own Facebook because it says here, give your password. I give my password. That's not your password. Yes, it is. You son of a bitch. Every time it never fails. So I can't even get into my own Facebook page. So if you want to contact me, you're gonna have to go through Pete at the Kimmer Show Facebook page because I can't get on the damn thing.
All right.
I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't get it. In fact, yesterday,
Here we go.
I had to buy a new phone. Okay, my phone.
That phone does look new, doesn't it?
I take pictures pretty much video,
candid
almost
photography.
pretty much every day of my horse for my grandkids. Send it my grandkids and my favorite ex-wife, and so I send those videos on pretty much every day, and they love it and that. Well, anyways, a few months ago, I got to the point where all of a sudden my camera wouldn't let me take a picture. It said a picture thing full. I said, wait a minute. I take pictures, but then I basically erase most of them. I maybe had like 10 photos in my file. Period. And so I went to the AT&T store, and I said, what's the deal? And he says, oh, well, on this phone, it was like an i6 or something, and i5S or whatever it was. And he said, well, on this phone, it isn't the number of pictures you have saved, it's the number of times you've taken a picture.
What? Never even heard of that.
I said, whoa, now wait a minute. You mean to tell me that I've used up the number of clicks on a photo app that I can take? No, he said, yeah, that's right. I said, you've got to be kidding me. I've only got like 9 pictures in the whole freaking phone system, and you tell me I can't use this $1,000 phone anymore? So, well, you have to go to the Apple store. Oh, that'll be fun. Why don't I take about 7 days off of my life and stand in line, just in case. In case I feel like doing nothing for about 3 freaking days. I'll stand in line at the Apple store, and then they ask me these questions that have no possible answer. Well, have you used the inflapilator with a diflapping infinitator? Yeah, I did that last week, and it didn't work then either, asshole. How about that? Son of a
Why are you
bitch.
looking at me?
Anyway, so I go to the Apple store, so the guy says,
'Cause
well,
you're the MP.
I go to the AT&T store, the guy says, well, if you don't want to mess with Apple, you really just need to get a new phone. I said, oh, okay. So I got a new $1,000 phone. So, okay. So then all of a sudden, this is like 6 months ago. So every month they get this notice saying, well, you've run out of your allotted so-and-so. You really ought to do something like sign up for Wi-Fi. I said, I thought I had Wi-Fi. I have Wi-Fi on my computer at my house.
Hasn't had
but
it for years.
It's not on my phone. So I said, oh, Christ. So I go to the AT&T store yesterday because I broke the glass. I needed a new glass for the front. So I went to get a glass, and I said, by the way, can you get me on this freaking Wi-Fi bullshit? And he said, oh, yeah, no problem. I said, now, do I have to do this while I'm here? I said, can you do it right now while I'm standing here at the AT&T store? He says, no, you got to be by your computer. I said, what sense does that make? That's bullshit. So I took pictures of the back of my modem, and I got all the passwords and stuff, and the guy said, okay. And I actually had him write down. He said, when you open up the settings and you open up this, I wrote down every step, and I went back to my computer, and I opened it up, opened up the settings, hit the thing for Wi-Fi. I looked up the thing of your home thing, and I clicked that on, and I typed in the password, clicked it on, and it went green light, and I'm on Wi-Fi. It's unbelievable.
Oh, the places you will go.
The things you
What a
will do.
country.
So proud of you.
So that's my experiment with social media. So I know how to get my freaking phone on Wi-Fi.
Boom.
But if you want me, you got to go to Pete. I have no idea what I'm doing.
All right, we will go to Pete. I would love to have you guys on another time.
I showed Pete a question I wrote, but I didn't ask. I was going to ask Kimmer, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rank your ability to use technology?
0.
-4.
Negative 400.
Yeah, that answered that.
I'm a 4 or 5, Kim. I'm not far ahead of you. You've been listening to the
sorry, I can't
What are
Thank
you doing?
you. Great show.
Thanks.
Go ahead,
sorry,
play
I
your
can't hear
damn
you.
drop.
Keep talking over him.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I can't hear you. I've been physically abused in the ear.
Thank you. See,
That was worth the wait.
Tyler Maynard.
Yeah,
Tyler Maynard.
I didn't build it up for nothing.
Tyler Maynard, you matter. See, you matter.
appreciate
That is our off-air, sometimes on-air producer, Tyler Maynard, running the show. This is Brett Barney, my co-host, my little McMahon.
Maynard is everything.
Yeah, you are everything. And across from us, a fantastic show for many years on 2 different radio stations, WGST in Atlanta, WSB with the Kimmer, also 106.7. Looking forward to having you guys back on in Atlanta radio.
hoping.
It is the one and only Pete Davis and Kimmer.
And the most infamous Christian with a special guest appearance.
Yeah, I will say your name again.
Christian.
Christian. That's all I need. Don't give me a last name. I don't even want to look up your Facebook. Then I'm a creeper. But yes, it is the Kimmer.
Thanks, man.
One Kim
Semper
Peterson.
Fi. God
Thank you,
bless
sir.
America. Thanks, Steve-O.
My
Brett, good
pleasure.
to see you guys.
You've been
Hoorah,
listening
man.
to the Yeah Come On Show, brought to you
Yeah.
by Oxygen Financial, baby.
Run Mexico out.
Yeah. Go to oxygenfinancial.net. Come on.
Herb.